G'day guys and welcome to me lab. Now in this our fourth lesson in our Make Monkey Fracas Jr. in Godot 4 tutorial series, we will be adding in our moons.
That's no moon.
Sorry, our planets for our player to dodge and shoot and things like that. All right, so this time we're going to be making our planets and our planet spawner. So we're going to need scenes and scripts as well as the planet.png asset. Alrighty, why don't we have a quick look at where we left off in the last one. So we've got our up and down movement, we've got our auto scrolling, we've got our laser with our sound, and we've got our parallax background all working. So that's where we got up to. What we're going to do now is sort out our planets that we can destroy. So we're going to create a new scene, and we are going to give this one an area 2D as its root node. And I'm sure you know by now we're going to rename it to planets. Okay, and with any area 2D, we need a collision shape. That's what that warning is. So let's just add it straight away. Add in our collision shape. What else do we need? Well, if you remember last time we did our timer in code, this time I want us to do it using a node. So we're going to play around with timers as well. And I think our last thing for this one is going to be an animated sprite 2D. Okay, there are all of our things. So we need to get our assets in here for this, don't we? So finding our, what are we doing again? Our planet. So we need our planet .png. I'm going to drag that into my assets. There it is there, xlent. Okay, so let's go our animated sprite 2D to start with. We're going to come over to our inspector. We're going to click animations where it says sprite frames empty, click on new sprite frames, and then click on sprite frames again, and it opens up our little menu down the bottom. So for our default, we want that to be an auto run, autoplay. So we click on that, and then we come across to our little grid, double click on that, go to our assets and find our planets, and then we just got to work this out. So we've only got one vertical and four, so we click on that one frame. So that's our default that we want, but we need another animation. So we're going to click on the plus, and this one is going to be called explode. All right, now our explode does not loop, does not autoplay, and I reckon we want it to be like quite a high number here, like 16 or something. Click on our grid, click on our planets, fix up our vertical, and then just grab those three explosion ones, add them in. Dunskies. All right, that's that bit done. Let's save our scene. Good. Now we need to sort out the visuals of it. So let's click on our 2D view. There is our little planet. I think it's probably too small, just based on memory. So let's move that up like that. Let's also click on that one so it makes a bit more sense. Now our collision shape, let's add it. So click on your collision shape in your node menu, come across to the inspector, shape empty, click on empty, add in a circle, and make it the size of the planet, just like that. Excellent. Save it as we go. Now, next, our timer. So remember, last time we did it in code. This time we're going to do it in the editor. So we got our timer selected. Come across here. Process callback idle is fine. We want to change our wait time to 5 seconds. We want to turn on one shot and auto start and save that again. All right. Now for our planet script. So we're going to click on our root node again, click on our little script button to add one. We don't need our template. We don't want to add it to scenes. We want to add it to scripts and create. And there is our incredibly exciting script. So let's do a bit of copying and pasting to spare everyone from my terrible typing and infinite typos. And let's just talk it through. Actually, before we talk it through, we're going to need to signal some things. So I've got my area 2D planet node selected now. What I want to do with that is come across to our node menu. Oops, click on planets again. There we go. And what we want to do with this one is we want to actually signal that first area entered. So I double click on that, and yes, I want to connect it to the planet. So I click connect, and now this will get a little green thing next to it showing that we've connected it. We need to do the same thing with our timer. So click on your timer, and then it's got timeout. We want to double click that and signal that through as well. And you'll see this one here will get a little signal next to it. Perfect. All right. So from the top, we're extending area 2D. So this particular thing gets all those properties. It inherits them from the area 2D and any parents. we've got a signal called destroyed. So we want to make sure that when we're making these planets, we're keeping track of how many there are so we don't end up with infinite planets and it crashes the system. So anytime we destroy a planet, we want to be able to know that that's happened. So we're creating a little signal here called destroyed, and anytime our planet is destroyed, it will let the game know that that has happened. All right, so our planet's signal destroyed. Then we've got this function ready. So when we load it, we just want to connect to this to make sure that we know when our animated sprite 2D animation is finished playing, because we don't want to delete our planet if we're still doing the animation for it. It would look silly. So that's what that line there is doing. We don't need to do anything in our process. We can probably just delete that, to be honest. We then create this function, which is for this bit here. So what we want to do is that when the animation finishes, we emit the signal destroyed, and then we queue free. And queue free basically means deleted out of the scene. So we keep coming down now. There is our timer that we made. We just want to make sure that when that expires, we queue free. And this timer is connected to how long does a planet stay around for, basically. Keeping on going, we want to make sure it goes towards our player. Actually, that should be a lowercase b. So we want to say a new variable for our player position. We want to find our player in the scene tree and then use that position to send our planet in that general direction. And then, yeah, when something enters that planet area, if it is a laser beam, remember we made our laser last time and we added it to the group laser. So if that happens, we want to add to our score, and then we want to play the explode animation. So this here means that we need to do a little bit of editing, doesn't it? So global.score, we didn't make that in our global function. So let's now grab our global one here, and let's add this in. So var score equals 0. That's it. That's all we had to do for that bit. All right, so let's have another look back at our planets. That all looks pretty good. So we've saved that. Now we need to make a whole new scene that will actually be for creating our planets in the game. So we want to come up the top and go plus again. This time we just want to use a node 2D. So just click 2D scene. And we're going to rename this, though, to be planet spawner. All right, we don't need to add any other nodes, but we do need to add a script to it. So it's going to be called planet spawner, but we don't want it there, do we? We want it in our scripts path. So create that. I also want to save what we're doing here. So planet spawner.tscn in our scenes folder. All right, and here is our planet spawner code. I am definitely not going to type out what I'm going to do here because it is really long, but we will talk it through. So let's grab it all, pop it in here, and let's have a chat about it. So from the top, we've got our node 2D, so we're extending those properties. We have a variable for our player. We have a variable for our object scene, so we need to be able to preload these planets to be able to spawn them. And we also have an interval for our spawning. How often do we want to spawn our planets? Then we have a maximum number of planets, so we don't overload it. And then a variable just to track how many planets we have at any given time. So when we start the game, it's 0. Now our spawn timer, this is a timer that we're going to mess around with just in our code. Just in our code. And then we've got a fixed spawn distance of 1,000 pixels. We don't want our planets to appear like on the screen. We want them to appear and come onto the screen, if that makes sense. In our ready function, we want to do a little bit of randomizing because we want to be able to change where our planets appear. We don't want them to always be in the same spot. I've got a typo there as well, as I seem to do. So we're finding our player node. We're starting that timer. We're adjusting our spawn rate based on our level. So this is what we're doing here, is saying that for every level our player goes up, we haven't made our levels yet, don't stress, we want the planets to appear faster. So that's what we're handling there. We're setting up that timer there. So remember, we've got two ways of doing our timers, in code or in with the nodes. Connecting that timer and then spawning the timer again. So here is our adjust spawn rate based on level. So there's one thing we're going to need to do here, right? In our global script, we don't currently have a player level variable. So let's do that now. Click on our global. We're going to go var player level equals 1. Excellent. So back to our planet spawner. That's that one taken care of. Our spawn interval, we want to change that based on the level. And then there's our timer again. When our timer times out, this is what we want to do here. So global.monkey spawned is another variable we haven't got yet. We're making our monkey not next one, but the one after. But we need a variable in there just to know if our monkey has appeared or not, because if they have, we don't want to keep making planets. So go back to our global. We've got a new one here, var monkey spawned equals, oh, what am I doing here? I've got player level in here twice. I'm going blind. Monkey spawned equals false. I don't know what is going on. Var monkey spawned equals false. All right, save that. Back to our planet spawner. When did I add in the player level? I don't remember. All right, keeping on going. Monkey spawn is in there now. Now we've got our spawn object. So if our player is there, basically, we want to be able to instantiate new ones. Where do we want to make them? Anywhere between 0 and 640 pixels on the y-axis. So 0 is the top, 640 is the bottom. Anywhere in that range, randomly, we want to make our new planets appear. So then we've got our new object's going to appear in our global position, which is going to grab that info from the player, plus the fixed spawn distance, which was at 1000 on the X, plus our Y spawn between 0 and 640. So that's what we're doing there. We're just trying to get a bit of the spatial stuff organized. Hopefully that all makes sense. Then we're making it, we're keeping track of it down here, and then when the planet's been destroyed, we change the number of current planets. So that one is up here, current planets. That's not a global one, it's just in here. Okay, we're going pretty well. What we now need to do is add the planet spawn scene into the background scene. We don't add the planets scene, just the spawn scene. So let's grab our background scene, grab our 2D view just so we can see what's going on. And all we do is we come down and find our planet spawn.tscn and we just drag it up and drop it on our background like that. And that is it. So let's save that, and we should be able to run this now, and it will work. So let's click on the play. We've got our up and down still. We've got our lasers still. Do we get a planet? There is a planet. Yes. And I broke it. All right, so why did we break it? Why did we break it? Okay, here, so score. I haven't added in a score variable to our global yet. Oh, hang on, I have, but it's got a typo. Love it. So let's change that to a capital S, save, and let's see what happens if we do that again. All right, so we can still shoot. Fantastic. We still got our up and down. Give us a planet. There's one. And we can shoot, and it gets deleted. Yeah. This is working perfectly. All right, let's close that down. Let's have a look at our must may might so you don't miss anything.
Right,
and
what
you
you
get
must get
done
done to keep up is you've got to create that planet and planet spawner scene and scripts, as well as grabbing in that asset of the planets and setting up those animations. What you may like to do is change the planet. It's a pretty low res and boring image that I've used. I just screenshotted the actual video, so it's pretty terrible. Feel free to edit that if you want. And what you might like to do is think about how we would do a similar thing for our monkey, because that's where we're getting to soon, and we've got to be able to spawn our monkey at the right time and stuff. So we're going to use a very similar technique. Have a think about quote how I would that like might to leave you with this week is from Arthur Schopenhauer, and he once said, "It is difficult to find happiness within oneself, but it is impossible to find it anywhere else." Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.